Good evening, everyone in the West Coast, and good afternoon, good morning to those in our Asia Pacific region and APJ, sorry. With you as always is Matt Vandenbeld. Today, we're going to do a webinar series on Horizon 7 on VMware Cloud on AWS. Like I said, I'm Matt Vandenbeld, Principal Architect with our Customer Success team. And I'll preface this with me saying that I'm not the world's foremost authority on Horizon and Horizon Suite, but I'll really do my best to go over how it works and then the features and functions of it on our VMware Cloud on AWS and what it can bring to those kinds of offerings. It's something that we added quite a few months ago. Just another housekeeping item. Those that are joining via Zoom, you're going to be muted. Please ask your questions in the Q&A. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to put your questions into the chat and I'll get to them as well. You can always email us at cloudcs@vmware.com to ask any other questions or comment on the YouTube page, and we will absolutely get to your questions when we can. So with that, let's jump right into it. So what does Horizon 7 on VMware Cloud look like, right? So we have our traditional kind of breakout of our data centers here, with your customer data center being your private data center, with VMware Cloud on AWS being hosted on AWS's global infrastructure and hooked up to AWS's native services as well. Now, what the nice thing is with VMware Horizon 7 is you can actually kind of span, those customer data center, your data center, and the VMware Cloud on AWS data center to be able to really get some features and functionality out of it. A very common use case is to deploy Horizon both on-prem and then expand it into the cloud. Horizon 7 CPA, the cloud architecture, cloud pod architecture, can be stretched between on-prem and AWS. So the A directory gets mirrored between on-prem and the cloud, allows any given user to access their desktop on-prem or in the cloud. And I feel that this is probably very apt for our APJ audience, or even our Americas audience, where you may have users around the world, that this is able to deliver a desktop closer to them without having to build an infrastructure yourself, a data center or a colo or anything like that, to be able to give them a better user experience. It's a very quick and easy way to offer more to your business users. So key points here to note. So we have kind of our Horizon 7 on VMware Cloud and AWS, the IaaS model. And there's also the Horizon Cloud on SoftLayer or Azure. So SoftLayer is IBM's offering, which is a desktop as a service model, whereas Horizon VMware Cloud is more of an IaaS model. So it's a good model. It's really there to, like I said, give the infrastructure and give you a little bit more fluidity. There is going to be some more offerings coming around this, so pay attention at VMworld for sure. And if in the future Horizon VMware Cloud on AWS may consider some EC2 direct support, that's not currently there. But so with this deployment, you have a larger degree of control and customization over things that you may not quite get in some of the other offerings. But there is definitely a multitude of different offerings that you can look. But the key point of this slide is to emphasize it's not desktop as a service; it's you running your Horizon on top of our infrastructure. So you can flexibly consume resources. So again, it's flexible, highly available on AWS's infrastructure. It's easy deploying one of the pods on AWS, even for federal stuff. The same admin management experience for on-prem and the cloud. And the pods can be deployed, like we said earlier, in multiple AWS locations all around the world, wherever there's a VMC data center, which is in multitudes of data centers now, continually expanding, and we should be in all of them very shortly. And this licensing model that falls under the Horizon and Workspace ONE subscription licenses can work with this as well. So it's a simplified vSphere deployment with the flexibility and elasticity of VMC, and you can actually even have the option of hourly billing. So that's something that's can be very cost effective if you have a seasonal workforce, or only want to pay for the majority of the hosts during the 8 hours, give or take, the people are working during the day. You can do as a pay-as-you-go model and scale up the number of hosts on demand very quickly to service your customers, and then scale it back down to pay less during the periods of lower utilization, which makes it extremely cost effective. And you don't have to go through the capex of buying new hardware and sizing and buying all of the hardware for your burst time, right? So you have a bunch of this hardware kind of sitting there, idling while the rest of your infrastructure, whereas on VMware Cloud and AWS, like I said, you could scale that down when you're not using it and don't pay for it. So with the cloud pod architecture, you have, again, we keep really focusing on this fast cloud scalability without capex investment and data center building cost. It's very highly available. You can run this as fresh clusters, and it's really an effective method of being able to have interpod communications. So also, it's a very, very good use cases for business continuity and disaster recovery. So again, we talk about the ability to spin up hosts very quickly. So you can have a fairly small footprint within VMware Cloud, and then be able to, in the event of you have a regional disaster, a hurricane or a tornado or an earthquake or anything along those lines, that's affecting your data center, you can quickly spawn up desktops within the VMware Cloud, again, with using the same tools you have today, at the same authentication. Your users will now just log in on the cloud side and be able to get back to work and be able to do their job as usual, even though that main data center won't be closed. And you pay the minimal in the time that you're not using it. You don't have to have a fully stocked up colo that has everything for that burst capacity that's leveraged, pretty much doing nothing while it's there. So how do we manage this in the, just going to build up this slide a little bit here and then talk through it. So really the Horizon 7 and Workspace 1 suite is looking to really bring that hybrid cloud, multi-cloud world with a very consistent operational model, right? So you can start with your Horizon 7 on-premises. You can add VMware Cloud and AWS. You can use any of our VCPP partners, VMware Managed Cloud, Azure, Microsoft Azure Government, a whole bunch, and there's more kind of coming. Yet it still is the same Horizon Cloud Management Console that you're leveraging, same license management, same automated install, system health, and then on top of that is that one Workspace 1 intelligence and all of the stuff that goes along with that. So there's also varying different types of virtual machines available in different pay scales. You kind of want to get down to the bottom lower, but the license management for Horizon itself is the same. And like I said, it really gives us flexibility of being able to deploy, desktops and applications wherever you need to consume them by whoever you need to consume them in a very easy and reasonable manner. So in general availability December 18th, which is past us, I guess it's a little bit older of a slide deck, instant clones and app volumes and UEM is open for on VMware Cloud on AWS. So this is a little bit of a limitation we had before where we weren't able to do instant clones. Now we can actually do instant clones and be able to very much rapidly provision. And just-in-time management platform is one of these things that we kind of talk about that delivers enterprise-level tools and features which give the ease of delivering and managing non-persistent desktops that are also personalized, right? That's Horizon GMP. And it's powered by the instant clones. GMP provides a powered-on virtual machine desktop or RDS host in less than 2 seconds, okay? So less than 2 seconds, and it takes about, give or take, 10 to 20 minutes, give or take, to add a host to a cluster. So you can get a host added very quickly, spawn a bunch of users on it in seconds, and rinse and repeat until you get to the number of hosts. And this all happens in a very automated fashion on the VMware Cloud side to add these resources as you continue to spawn up virtual machines, so that it really does make that burstability a very real use case. So there is a 2 SKU solution. I mean, we can't talk about a lot of these things without talking about how they're licensed. So Horizon 7 of EMC Costs, there's 2 different SKUs. So there's the Horizon 7 service, which is the choice of the subscription service. Would that be Workspace 1 Enterprise or VDI, Horizon subscription, the full or add-on, Horizon app subscription, full or add-on. And then there's the VMware Cloud and or on-premises deployment cost out of that. And then there's the VMware Cloud capacity, which is so these are basically the 2 SKUs you would need to buy. So these are really kind of options between the 2. So your capacity options would be hourly on demand, 1-year reserve, or 3-year reserve. The list prices are available on our website. Now, obviously, there is discounts as you get further down that list. You'll pay the most for hourly on demand. then you get a rebate on the 1 year, and you get a good, better rebate on further rebate on 3 years. So it'd be good to get, a 3 year reserve for kind of your base infrastructure, and then pay hourly for the rest, which is absolutely something you could do. You don't have to go all in on one or the other. It's you can buy a certain amount on the reserve price to save all that money, and then just pay the burst capacity when you need those resources and save the money when you do not. So I guess there was a deal going. So the Horizon subscription license, each subscription license for Horizon or Horizon Cloud is $825 per named user per month, or $1650 per named user per month for the desktops. So again, just a little bit of the pricing out there to give people a ballpark, and I'm sure that there is some potential rebates out there depending on your relationship with your sales partners and VMware. So what this is really, the meat of this is we really want to give customers choice. Okay, right? So our Horizon 7 suite and our Workspace 1 suite is a fantastic suite of application delivery mechanisms and desktops that you want the options of where to run it, right? That's on your premises, in VMware Cloud on AWS, in IBM, in Azure, in other ones that may be coming up, in VCP offered ones. And the nice thing about some of these ones on the lower, the bottom end of this is we manage the infrastructure. So obviously the customer manages your own, on-premises infrastructure. But, in VMware Cloud and AWS, we manage the hardware, the SDDC for you. So hosts fail, we replace them. That's on us, right? We upgrade your hosts for you. We upgrade all of the vSphere stack for you, right? And then IBM and Azure, it gets even more, a little bit more managed, where they actually manage the Horizon platform. So you can really pick and choose, your top flavor. If you want all the control in the world, you can absolutely just continue to host things on premises. If you want, a little bit more of a hybrid model where you manage the Horizon platform, and then we manage all of the hardware and data center facilities that you may not want to, that's a really great fit for VMware Cloud and AWS. Or if you just want to go and get DAS, Desktop as a Service, you could do that from IBM, Azure, probably more if you pay attention in the next few coming weeks of other service providers are going to be offering Desktop as a Service as well. But it's really about giving you choice and letting you consume these in manners that you want them to be consumed. So we have multiple offerings here, and this is kind of the summary slide. So this is going to be kind of a really quick overview of Horizon 7, and if anybody wants later, we could talk a little bit about how some of the architecture actually works, because it's actually a very unique and very cool architecture that our teams have developed for how to deploy Horizon 7 in the cloud part architecture on VMware Cloud and AWS to really make best use of the utilizations and work within the framework that we have. But again, to talk through it, so you have Horizon 7 on-premise. You can have that either in perpetual, right? Or if you're looking at subscription, or Horizon 7 subscription, or Workspace 1 Enterprise is kind of the start of the on-premise way of managing the offerings. And then when you start to move to the cloud, there's Horizon 7 on VMware Cloud and AWS. It's a subscription. Horizon 7 subscription license of Workspace 1 Enterprise also covers that. Horizon Cloud is on Azure. It's a subscription-based model again. And again, your Workspace 1 Enterprise subscription will work there, as well as on Horizon Cloud. So as you can see, VMware kind of as a whole is definitely moving a lot towards the subscription-based model, SaaS offerings, DAS offerings, IaaS offerings, as a service offerings with more license, because that's what customers have been asking for. But you still absolutely have the option of doing a perpetual license for your on-premises licenses. So with that, like I said, that was kind of the 5,000-foot view of what Horizon looks like on VMware Cloud on AWS. It is a really unique use case. It basically is an extension of the current cloud pod architecture onto our SDDCs, VMware's managed SDDCs, your SDDCs in the VMware Cloud in all of the regions that we're around worldwide. And it could really deliver, like I said, those closer workstations to your users around the world, or it is a fantastic use case for those disaster recovery scenarios. And I guess I could leave you with a little bit of an anecdote here. I live in Seattle now, but I used to live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and in the infinite wisdom of, I guess, some of our forebears, they decided to build Calgary's downtown right next to the Bow River, which is also consequently the floodplain. And, they call them 100-year floods, potentially for a reason, but we had two of them within the span of about 10 years. And essentially it flooded out all of downtown, right? So while everything was kind of up and working, no one could get down to their office to do work, right? And this cost companies millions and millions and millions of dollars because you're essentially paying people to sit at home because they can't get to work. It's not that they don't want to get to work or they don't have, the IT infrastructure still up and running. It's just people cannot get to their desktops. A situation like this would just be a perfect fit for this use case where you could have that infrastructure already set, ready to go in one of the VMware Cloud on AWS data centers. Flip on the switch, start deploying desktops, scale out as quickly as possible, deploy multiple cloud pods. There's, like I said, there is a little bit of an architecture over it that you'll have to deploy multiple cloud pods once you get to kind of a 16 host threshold. But then you can start to get your users back and working, and your organization is not losing the kind of money it would be, like I said, if people were just sitting at home because they couldn't get to work because of a natural disaster, even though IT had done all of its job and protected all of the servers and done all of its DR from that perspective. It's just nobody could consume it. And, you can believe that we had a much increased demand for virtual desktops and site recovery after that. But it's much better to be one of these people that's prepared for it as opposed to coming after the event has happened, where you have to go in front of your board or senior management and explain, why you were not prepared for it. So that's just a little anecdote I'll leave you with that really, to me, emphasizes one of the most fantastic use cases for this offering. And with that, there's no questions. Like I said, you can always tweet at me at VMware Cloud, at vcloudmatt on Twitter. Or you can email us at cloudcs@vmware.com, or leave a comment on the VMware page, or just talk to any of your local sales reps or partners around the Horizon 7 solution on VMware, and they'll be able to get you, a little bit more information, perhaps particular to your needs than I delved through here. And really, like I said, there is such a multitude of choice now. It can also get a little bit confusing. So like I said, talk to your VMware reps, talk to your partners, and we can help you navigate through this, come up with a solution that's best for you, because there is so many solutions out now and ways that we could deliver your applications and your desktops to your users that you really should, look into leveraging these things. And with that, I thank everybody for their time and look forward to talking to everybody next week. Thank you very much. Good night.